When I first saw these sneakers, I was pretty intrigued. I mean, it's more than just a new colorway, but getting them in hand actually made me like them a whole lot more, which as someone who has heavily criticized previous dunks for their quality, I think that shows a lot for this pair. So let's take a look at one of the more interesting Nike dunks that have dropped this year. And here we have the box. Honestly, I think it's a little bit of a missed opportunity for the box theme here. I think they could have done something pretty interesting with it, but they decided to go with the regular Nike box. So that's just a plain old red box with the various Nike branding plastered all over it. Now, there is something slightly interesting when you open it up. You get some special paper. These images or these charms are going to be something that is also on the sneaker. We'll get to that in a minute, but let me show you guys the pair of sneakers themselves. It is the Gray Fog Nike Lottery Dunk. And here they are, looking pretty clean if you ask me. And I guess first things first, let's just get the name of these sneakers out of the way. So why are these called lottery dunks? Well, it's actually because these are literally sneaker scratch-offs. So you know when you go to a gas station and you buy a scratch-off card, you see if you win? Well, that's literally what this is, except you don't win anything. You take this little coin, which Nike included as a hang tag on the pair of sneakers, and you scratch away the surface of the Nike swoosh on here. What happens when you scratch it away, it actually reveals a whole different color. On this specific colorway of the Nike Dunk Lottery, it turns red. And that's where it ties back into the special paper that's included in the box of the sneaker. You get a bunch of different images like dice, horseshoes, the number 7, cherries, and diamonds. Now, I will mention that there was another colorway as part of this Lottery Dunk pack that was all over green and sail, and when you scratch that one off, it reveals a black Nike swoosh with a bunch of those same images. Now look, my original plan for this review was to actually just scratch it off myself and show you guys exactly what it looks like, but honestly, I prefer the look of this black Nike swoosh. Now don't get me wrong, I don't think the red necessarily looks bad, but if I had to choose between the two, I'm taking the black. So what I thought could be more interesting was to just go ahead and wear them and see how long this black takes to naturally just come off. And is it an option to actually keep it like this? If you're someone like me who actually prefers the black Nike swoosh, is it something that you can actually feasibly do? Is this black coating durable enough to withstand general wear and tear? So yeah, I thought it'd be a little bit more of an interesting idea to just test it out for myself, wear these down, see how long it takes, and if you want to stay tuned for that, subscribe to the channel. Now, in terms of other lottery-themed details on this pair of sneakers, it's really not that much. For the most part, when they're not scratched off, it just kind of looks like a plain regular dunk. There's only two other details that would suggest this is a special edition pair of dunks, and that is the tag on the top of the tongue that has a little kind of star in it, and of course, it's highlighted red, which you don't normally find on dunks. Same thing goes for the insole, that is colored blue, and it also has the same Nike branding. So genuinely, if you just preferred the regular style of dunk and really liked this colorway, it's definitely doable. This doesn't really scream lottery, which I think is really cool. Like, it just seems like Nike is super good at finding a way to mix the story in with specifically dunks. Like, this theme of lottery just seems so minimal on this sneaker that it ends up making this shoe pretty tasteful. You're not getting too much that is screaming in your face. They avoided adding super crazy colors and adding different panels and all of those cherry images all over the sneaker. It's super minimal, and I think that's a huge part of why so many people are interested in this pair of shoes, because it's a regular Nike Dunk Low until you decide to customize it yourself. Not to mention the fact that they look almost identical to one of Nike's most popular colorways of the Dunk Low, the Gray Fog. I mean, take a look at the gray colors, it's so close to being an exact match. I would say potentially the Lottery Dunks are a slightly darker gray, but it's really, really hard to tell. So if you're someone who really wanted a pair of gray fogs and you look at the resale price and you're like, hell no, then maybe this is a great secondary option. I mean, while we're comparing the gray fogs to these Lottery Dunks, I'm just gonna go ahead and say it. I think I actually prefer the black Nike swoosh over these. Like, if I had to make a decision to pick one of these two, I'd probably take the Lottery Dunks. There is also a material difference. If you take a look at the Lottery Dunks, it just feels a little bit less plasticky than the leather included on these regular GR Dunks. That kind of goes for any other recent colorway of the Nike Dunk Low. It's super plasticky and doesn't look that great after extensive wear. Now, I'm definitely not saying that these are incredible leather. You still do have a general stiffness to the leather, and it doesn't feel that premium like if we compare these to a pair of Nike Dunk by Yous. It's definitely not that softer, tumbled leather that you find on the Dunk by Yous, but I would say it finds a bit of a midpoint, being slightly better than the GRs and just slightly worse than the Dunk by Yous. The laces on here, interestingly enough, are also a bit different. They kind of have a bit more of a smoother look to them, which I do kind of like. If you take a look at the gray fogs, that has a little bit more of a traditional lace style that you would find on like Jordan 1s or something like that. Now, in terms of sizing on these, it remains exactly the same for any other Nike Dunk Low. So if you try to pair on, stick with that same size, which for me is true to size, so that's what I'm going to recommend to you guys. Or the only other kind of comparison I could give it is like if you've worn a pair of Jordan 1 lows, stick with that same size on the Dunks. But yeah, guys, a really cool pair of Dunks that finds a way to add fun details, which still manages to find a way to remain clean, good looking, and pretty subtle. Definitely one of my favorite pairs of Dunk Lows so far this year. Let me know what you guys think of these things down in the comments, but that pretty much wraps it up. Thank you so much for coming through, hanging out for yet again another video. Thank you for liking, commenting, and of course subscribing. I'll catch you guys in the next one. But until then.